The next thing it can be pretty important to think about in that very, same structure is in phase one. We'll go ahead and number those. In phase one of the company or the startup or the innovation CEO, and they're ultimately, everything they do and everybody they hire is focused and living a life where their skills and all the things they've trained for and all the things they do are outward focused, right? There, in fact, really isn't, a strip. It's one, two, three, four, five, maybe all the way up to like nine people can, naturally they just sort of operate in this model where by and large, everyone is so busy and focused on those same outcomes. There's no time or space in this system for things to get confusing, like are these activities or are these outcomes, and different things that tend to noisy up the system. So as we mentioned, when you move then to that second place and the sort of innovator or operator CEO is having enough success that they've built not just people. I mean, we forget at this point, we think that we have all these folks on staff that we're paying, remembering hopefully that we hired them specifically to help up here, to be expressions of what was needed here. And so now if we're not, if we're looking traditionally, then you kind of end up doing this tree-like structure, and that's one of the things we'd like not to do if we're engaged in complicated or ever-changing problems or problems that require some R&D or a focus, a large degree of uncertainty. And so now when we first, when we ask these people to, loosely begin project work, if we're not careful, another thing we don't want to do, right? Products over projects, but assuming for a minute loosely that made some sense and we're asking these people to do work, there's still this tendency to only have skills and process strategies that are focused outward. And this is that first moment while the CEO is kind of going through their identity crisis and the people are kind of going through their identity crisis. This is that first moment where really like a culture begins to form and where we need internal strategy and internal skills, and we need to deal with each other in a way that pulls from some very different skill sets than these ever were meant to. And so, of course, then if you get to this place where you are way over here and you have your business service layer serving the organization, your product owner, group and your scrum master group serving the organization, and these components making it really safe and delicious and beautiful for these perpetual startup companies to take ideas all the way from concept to cash. This doesn't work. Everybody's in pain all the time, as you move through these stages. If we continue to use those external skills, an example of this would be titles, right? It's in this same moment titles start to get, everything gets funky here, but externally titles are very useful. Internally, titles are largely not useful. They cause a lot more challenges than they tend to solve for. And when the Scrum Master organization, the product organization, and the executive organization, and then the business service organization serving teams, generally speaking, folks down here appreciate that. That's really good for them. So high five. That's another, we'll kind of keep working through this and working through this and working through this. Our goal being to observe nature and to understand sort of what's happening for us as an organization and then what's happening for us on the inside as this is taking place, so that we never disconnect from each other and we never internally forget it's very, very different set of skills, not the things we've studied for the last 18 years or whatever that make us really amazing here. and we need to practice something different. We may need to bring some people in to remind us and to show us these patterns so that we can practice something different. Hope you have an amazing one. Cheers.